Hi, this is Maria. Welcome to my craft room. Today we're making this beautiful card using seasonal branches and One Horse Open Sleigh Designer Series paper. This is so pretty. It's very Christmassy, but it's also very fall, and so I thought I would pair this up with this stamp set to make this beautiful card. Let me show you your cutting instructions. So we will be using today, this is my sample, we will be doing everything the same, except we're going to use Cajun Craze as our background, as our card base. So this is 8.5 by 11, cut in half to 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and that is our card base. All the rest of these measurements are here on your screen, and they're going to be the same as what you see here. Okay, so here is your Designer Series paper, 3 by 5.5, which is all the way top to bottom of this card base. You're going to have 2 strips, 1.5 inch by 5.5, which is top to bottom, and just little strips. This is great if you just have some scrap paper. That'd be great. We've got a scrap that we'll be cutting our circle out of, and our 4 by 5 1/4, that will be our insert on the inside. Okay, so let me go ahead and get started. Seasonal branches. This is such a pretty stamp set. This is photopolymer, so you can see right through your stamps. Very pretty. And I like this because you could use this for spring, you can use it for fall like I'm doing now. Just very versatile. I love this little birdie too. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there just so we see what is happening. And we're going to go ahead and put this card together. So we're going to mimic this card. Let's go ahead and put the basics down. So I like to use scraps a lot. So if you have little pieces of paper, you don't have to have a full mat to go behind your focus piece, what I call my focus piece, right? If you have just little strips, you can make that into a border very easily. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to put the little scraps first. These are your 1/2 inch by 5.5, and I'm just going to put them down with some Stampin' Seal. Let me see. Yes, we are on screen. Oh. Strong stuff. Very good. And I'm just going to go about 1/4 inch inside of the card. And this does not have to be exact, but that's what we're going for. We'll do the same thing on the other side. If you run just a little bit over, no problem. We'll just snip that at the end. I did see the same thing with my scrap, and I think that's just from when you fold, you lose a little bit of that, because it is the same size. 5.5 is the length of this card. Okay, so there's my little background, and then this will go right here in the center, and you've got a beautiful mat. So pretty. All right, so let's, beautiful. Put this down. It's very sticky. All right, and we're going to go right across the top, and we're going to center this. Beautiful. Isn't that so pretty? I like the way the Cajun Craze just makes the little leaves pop up out of there. I took the smallest little color, and man, it just looks so pretty. And it's such a contrast. It's the same paper. This is more subtle, and this is just going to make everything pop. I love that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and trim the bottom off of here just to make sure it's nice and crisp, and I can see the little bit of edge that went across there, that went past. So we're going to line that up and just trim it away. Beautiful. And now we are perfectly aligned. All right, now So we have left our insert and our piece of scrap. So I'm going to use a 2 3/8 paper punch. There's your part number if you want to get this. We're going to just punch out a circle. All right. And we're going to do a little stamping. I'm going to grab a silicone craft sheet just for a sketch pad, and I'm going to grab a couple of things from this stamp set called Seasonal Branches. We're going to use this branch, this bird, the little branch, and the sentiment is, may you feel sheltered in the love that surrounds you. That will be on the inside. On the outside, we will just say thanks. Okay, so the colors in here are Misty Moonlight, which I don't have, so we're going to cheat and use Night of Navy, and of course the Cajun Craze on the background. So here's how we're going to cheat. Night of Navy is very close. You can tell it's very close, but it's a little bit darker than what we want. So I'm going to stamp off and then onto my paper. So I want to make sure that I don't get this little branch. I don't want that, because that is where my bird is going to sit. So I'm going to stamp everywhere except that branch. Just when I'm loading up my ink here, I'm going to make sure that I avoid that. And of course I got it just a little bit, so we're just going to literally wipe it off. All right, so now, because I know this ink is too strong, I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp right onto my card. Beautiful. And it gives me a more faded look. And it matches very well. Okay, so that's our first step. We're going to get our little bird, and we're going to do the same thing. Stamp him up, stamp off, and then put the bird on the branch. If you don't have a silicone craft sheet, you can just use this piece of scratch paper. You can just wipe this off with soap and water, just run it under the tap and dry it, and this is perfectly clean. All right, so there's that. Now we're going to get our Cajun Craze and get there's one little solitary leaf in here. We're going to use this little leaf here, because we could use the full leaf pattern over the branch, but this is fall, so there's only like one here and one here. There's just a handful of leaves, so that's kind of what I'm going for. We're going to stamp off, because that is very strong, and just put 1 or 2 of these down. Just to tie in to the background color. And then I've got thanks, and we'll put that in full strength at the bottom of this circle. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to put my inks away temporarily because I have a habit of putting my hands in them. All right, so the next step, I'm going to get a blender pen, and we are going to, I'm just going to make sure it's clean. We're going to blend this blue. I'm going to drag the color right out of the stamped ink here to give us our beautiful little blue bird, and that's really bad. Okay, so I didn't clean my tip well enough, and I've got some leftover orange on my bird head now. So unless we want an orange bird, which I don't, we're just going to turn this around. Well, my circle is dirty, so we're just going to punch another circle. No problem. Let's grab another piece of scratch white. And we'll do that. We'll just do that again. All right, so make sure we have a clean spot. And let's do that again. All right, so I'm going to try not to edit so much, so you're just going to see my mistakes. All right, so we're going to leave that one little branch out of the stamp. Stamp off and onto my circle. Beautiful. And then the bird. Same thing. And thanks. And the other side, I've got a stamp on the other side of the same block, is the Cajun Craze. We'll stamp that little thing off too. Because it really is very bold. Do we want a third one? Let's do a third one. Right down here. Very nice. Okay. Now let's put this away. And we're going to make sure this is very, very clean. And we're going to test it. Test your pen tip. Okay, very clean. Let me see what we're doing. Let's go a little closer. Okay, and we're just going to drag the edges of this blue to just barely give the bird a hint of a blue tint right over the edges, and that's it. I don't want the tummy blue, just the outline here. Can we see that? It's so pretty. I'm going to drag this just to fill in the little bits that didn't quite go through. Perfect. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to take the other side of my blender pen. Again, make sure it's very clean. And we're going to blend the Cajun Craze. Very nice. That's so pretty. Okay, so another thing we can do, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to add some Wink of Stella just to add a little glitter because I just think that looks so pretty. You certainly don't have to do this. I'm putting it on all of the color. Make sure my tip is clean, and I'm going to go all over this. I'm going to go all over the bird. And this is just a hint of sparkle. Let's see if I can get the focus to work. Hint of sparkle. That's so pretty. I love the Wink of Stella. Okay, so now on this one, I went around the edges with the Night of Navy. I think here we will go around. Should we do night? I think we'll do the same thing. We're going to, this is just a sponge dauber. I'm going to go into a corner of the Night of Navy. If you have Misty Moonlight, by all means, use Misty Moonlight. And we're just going to go around the edges just to give it a little dimension. A little ink goes a long way. I thought about doing the edges in the Cajun Craze, but I think that's a little too much orange. That's a very bright orange. And the blue does look very pretty on the other card. So we're just going to stick to that. Okay. Let's put that away just briefly. And now we can put this aside, and we're going to put this down with dimensionals off center just a little bit, just like we did on our sample. Now we're going to put a piece of ribbon behind it, so before you set your circle down, put your ribbon down. This is glittered organdy, and we're going to just cut a strip here about 5 inches. I'm just going to make sure I go from end to end and snip. And then we're going to fold the ribbon in half, go from the tip inward and snip, and that is going to give us our little flag tail. Perfect little flag tail. Okay, do the same on the other side. Fold it in half and slip from the corner in, and that gives us our little flag tail. So pretty. Make sure it's going to fit inside. I left it a little long, so we're just going to snip a little bit off of the one side, whichever flag looks a little worse. Beautiful. I think we'll go with that. Position this just so to get an eyeball of where you want it before you put this down. I think we need to go a little bit more. All right, that's better. We're going to put this down with some Stampin' Seal right in the middle of the ribbon. Actually, let's get this just so I don't get tape everywhere. And we'll go a little bit on the edges as well. Just to make sure it sticks really well. And we'll go right across here. Beautiful. And I like that you can't see the glue behind that. Very nice. And then we'll put this down with dimensionals. I'm going to use the little bits that are across the edge of my little dimensional piece. I don't like to be wasteful. I've already used the dimensionals on the inside, but use every bit you can get. And we'll just go in the corners here, if a circle had a corner. Okay, take your little bits off the back and place that on your ribbon. And I'm placing it off into the mat just a little bit. Isn't that so pretty? I love that. Okay, so that's it for the outside of the card. What a difference the different background color makes. All right, on the inside, let's add our basic white. It's gonna go like so. Let's go ahead and stamp on this before we glue it down. I think we should, since we used, on the outside, we used the blue ink. So on the inside, should we continue with the blue ink? I think we should. Let's continue with the blue. And we're going to go ahead and go full strength with the lettering. Beautiful. And then we'll take the smaller branch and stamp off. Beautiful. And a couple of leaves. And then we can glue this down and be done with this card. Easy peasy. Beautiful. And we can use that blender pen on these as well. Make sure we're clean so we don't do that again. See, that one still got some blue on it. Let's do the other side, which should have some of the orange on it. Just blend that in. So pretty. Beautiful. Let's add a little wink of Stella to these as well, because why not? Nice little tiny bit of sparkle, and then we can put this on the inside, and we are done. There we go. Beautiful. And just center this on the inside, and we are done. Beautiful. So here are two cards, very different, very similar and very different, just by using different background colors in your card base. Which one do you like better? This is Misty Moonlight, this is Cajun Craze. I think the orange just pops out a little more when you use that background color to match it. Very pretty. You can see the sparkle a little bit in the leaves. And this one is just more of a subtle pop. I hope you like my videos. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and click that notification bell so that you are notified when I post a new video. Thanks for watching.